Hello, everyone. We're live, and we actually have our Bob back. So we actually have a full panel for our Christmas special, where we're talking about the top 5 Christmas movies that are not Die Hard. And also to celebrate the Christmas spirit, last night I went on the channel and discovered I was at 100 subscribers, and I just want to thank everyone for getting us over that. And I unlocked the URL, and we are now officially the Spy Guy on YouTube.
Yes, my man. If anybody deserves it, it's you.
The ledge.
So
yes, mate.
Anyways, we have a great lineup for tonight. As usual, I have no idea what my co-hosts have picked, and right until the last minute, I was still making my decisions. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone's brought, especially on this one where it's such a broad, open topic. But we're talking about the top 5 movies, Christmas movies that are not Die Hard. And I don't know about you guys, but I think Die Hard 2 is the more Christmas of those two movies. They really leaned into it for that movie.
I don't know, but Die Hard 1, you had the whole thing was set around a Christmas party.
Yeah.
You know, a work
like Christmas was like a big part of the movie.
Yes.
You know, whereas in the second one, it was just kind of a background thing. It was just kind of there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Christmas Eve. They have like airplanes flying in, terrorists taking over the place. I really love what's his name is the bad guy in that movie, and it's a hard act to follow up on one of the greatest actors of all time, but I still like the.
Why can I not remember his goddamn name now? All of a sudden, I mean, it means William Sadler.
Sadler. You're talking about 2. I thought you were talking about.
No. That's what you say. William Sadler followed up after Alan Rickman and did a good job as a follow-up.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The thing that kind of knocked it out, that killed it for me was in Die Hard 2 was I didn't really care for like them spending so much time with his wife on the plane. It was they had to put that in there to justify her in the movie. So it was
I get kind of trying to build up his personal stake in it.
Yeah,
but it felt like a lot of her scenes were all just build up to that payoff where she tasers him.
Yeah.
And I think even more so,
and she never even yelled taser.
It's that reporter's on the plane.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever.
I suppose they needed that. Need to try and get that little bit of a comic relief kind of thing going on there.
Yeah.
Because let's face it. I mean,
no, go ahead.
Sorry, no. Because I was going to say, let's face it. One of the only real comedic characters in that movie, is actually the janitor.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody else is very serious and dour, and
they had
the janitor.
A future senator and presidential candidate in that movie, which I liked.
Did they?
Yeah, what's his name? The guy who's the administrator of the airport. He's a senator, and later goes on to become a senator, and he is later runs for president in 2004.
Yeah. So I don't keep up with Yanktown politics. I mean, a proper country.
Oh yeah, I know. You're talking about Fred Dalton.
Fred Dalton. Yep.
Yeah. He was also on Law and Order.
Yep. When he left, he only did one term in the Senate, but he went on to Law and Order. But he can't remember. He was like a Watergate lawyer, apparently.
Yeah, he actually started off as a lawyer and then became an actor.
Yeah. See, whenever I hear the name Dalton, I just think Roadhouse.
Yeah, that's another good movie.
I thought you'd be taller.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
There you go. There's another subject. Patrick Swayze movies that aren't Roadhouse.
Yeah.
No, I suppose you'd have to say Patrick Swayze movies that aren't Ghost, because I suppose Ghost would be his biggest movie.
No, Roadhouse.
But yeah,
for the ladies maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know. I'm putting that in there so we can all pick Roadhouse as one of our movies.
Oh, that's true. But then we'll all pick it as number 1.
No, man.
Yeah, I've got 3 of those three of that top 5 already in my head, and you won't be surprised. Roadhouse, Still Dawn, Still Dawn, and Red Dawn.
Yes. Yeah.
Still Dawn's a much better movie than people give it credit for.
Oh God, yeah.
But we are here.
Sorry, go on.
We are here for Christmas
Oh,
movies.
he's got Dirty Dancing, which is
not
also
Die
up there.
Hard. No, screw Dirty Dancing.
Fuck, yeah,
Point
that's
Break
another chick
didn't
flick.
make your list there, Kev?
I said 3 of my top 5.
Mm.
That was only 3 of my top 5. Point Break, obviously. I'm not giving them in any particular order, but that's 4 out of 5 already.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe chuck in Uncommon Valor, one of his early roles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Point Break.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
There you
so.
Yeah.
Oh,
So who's gonna start this off?
What a movie. I watched that a few years ago as like when I was doing my Gene Hackman kick, and I was like, yeah, that's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we start off with the Christmas theme and hit our number 5s. I'll start with my number 5 then.
okay.
Okay.
My number 5 is The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Ooh,
Oh,
my
with,
honorable mention.
Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. You know what? I went in this. This is one of those movies back in the '90s. I would go to the movies with a friend of mine, and every weekend, and that was just kind of our thing, getting the movies. And I still will say I think the '90s are the best movie decade, just at least for action movies. So we went to see this movie not expecting much from it, and we're kind of blown away by the craziness, actionness of this movie. Where basically Gina Davis is a mother who crashed into the snow one day and has no memory of how she got there, and she marries into this family and is doing this, and she's desperately trying to figure out who she was. Turns out she's some sort of CIA assassin.
Yeah.
And proceeds to and they hired Samuel L. to try and figure out who's a private investigator who's got a bit of an agency to try and figure out who she is, and they spend a lot of time. And then suddenly, when she realizes who she is, the assassins come for her, and there is a hell of a lot of explosions and fun along the way. And it all happens during the Christmas holidays.
yeah.
And I really just enjoy this movie as just a simple guilty pleasure type movie. And that's why it's kind of in my number 5 spot for like these kind of Christmas movies.
Yeah, this was one of those. This is like probably Rennie Harlin's best movie, next to Die Hard 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what up, Foggy in the house?
Stormy, hey, Stormy.
No, it's Foggy.
Welcome
Foggy.
all.
It's Foggy. Get her name right, Foggy.
But no, yeah. This is the Long Kiss Goodnight was my number 2, was my honorable mention. It just barely got edged out by my number 5 movie. But what I really liked, what was really cool about this is how she completely flips, and like she goes from being one character to being another. Because when she gets her memories back, it's not like she just gets her memories back and she's still the same person. She gets her memories back and she turns back into the person that she was. And the person she was kind of an asshole.
Yeah, not a very nice person.
I might talk about this movie later. Yeah, like she was originally ready to just leave her family behind and just like, I'm out, But then as time goes on, those two personalities start to merge into a new person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Samuel L. Jackson was awesome in that movie.
And he wasn't doing his typical hard man role either.
Right. He was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But,
and I will not hush it, Foggy. No, nobody can mute the orc.
But no, good choice, man.
Yeah. I might talk about that one a little bit later.
Yeah. I kind of figured. I think we all kind of had that. I think that was all kind of satellite in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, Bob, why don't you go next, since you've actually shown up for once?
Okay. My number 5, Lethal Weapon.
Oh.
Lethal Weapon, which a lot of people don't remember, takes place during Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Busey mowing down the TV. It's fucking Christmas.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the movie when he's buying the Christmas tree, he's at the Christmas tree park. He's doing the drug deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's people forget that movie takes place during Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
But awesome movie. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Gary Busey, Tom Atkins, Mitchell Ryan, who played the general. Yeah, dude, it's just. I mean, it's Lethal Weapon. I mean, if you don't know what Lethal Weapon is, I feel sorry for you.
What planet are you fucking living on?
Yeah, but
interesting little bit of trivia. Did you know Bruce Willis and Mel Gibson were considered for each other's roles?
Yep.
Mel Gibson turned down John McClane.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis turned down Riggs.
Yep, and thank God they did.
Yes,
it worked out for everyone.
Yeah, because I can't see this. I can't see this movie being the same with those two guys switching roles. But
no,
Mhm.
Gibson
Definitely
brings
Die
that
Hard in the
weirdness.
same way.
yeah, definitely one of the best movies that Richard Donner ever did, and it launched a franchise. I mean, my God, I mean, there were 5 Lethal Weapon movies.
4.
Yeah, well, apparently there's going to be 4. There's going to be another one.
There's supposed to be a 5th one coming up. So
Yeah, and a series as well.
Yeah, the TV series.
Yeah.
I've never watched the series, but
It wasn't actually that bad.
it wasn't bad. You could tell. Basically, that series died because of issues backstage.
Oh yeah,
But Damon Wayans played a good Murtaugh.
yeah.
He
And
was-
I can't
he was
remember.
pretty-
What was the actor's name now? Played Riggs.
I can't remember that
now.
guy. Yeah, that's the guy that had all the problems. He had like drug problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, no, a Hollywood actor with problems like that? No. Shocking.
But yeah, if you have not seen Lethal Weapon, and actually, I watched Lethal Weapon not too long ago, a couple months ago. I had it on the background. It actually still holds up.
Oh yeah.
So great movie, great cast, launched a franchise. That's my number 5.
Okay, 2 solid picks so far for number 5.
Mhm.
Right, my number 5, let's just get this one out of the way, is Scrooged,
Okay. Yep.
Bill Murray.
hmm
I think this is definitely what I mean. It's a more classical Christmas movie,
Mm-hmm.
but with a brilliant twist. You know, the way they portray it is just fantastic. You know, Bill Murray is Bill Murray. You know, you can't say anything else. And it is, like I say, it's a unique twist on the actual tale of Ebenezer Scrooge. You know, it's just got everything. It's so fucking funny. I mean, you can watch this again and again. And the reason I put it at number 5 is because I actually fucking hate Christmas. I really don't care about Christmas, but I thought it's a Christmas top 5. You got to put something kind of relating to Christmas in it.
Yeah.
You know, a Christmas-y movie. And this was the one that I can tolerate the most because I think it's one of the best actual Christmas stories. You know, it's Bill Murray, TV exec. It's just, I'm just trying to think how you can explain it. Well, everybody knows the story of Scrooge, but it's
Right.
just this really unique. What was this? 91 was it? Or
I think it was. No, I think you're right.
no, 88.
It was
88.
88. Yeah.
Mhm.
This was
Yeah.
not long after Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he just sells this horrible arsehole who
Yeah.
finds redemption.
It's basically they kind of took like, you remember in the 80s they had all that those stories coming out about these film executives who are just friggin' heartless pieces of crap,
Right.
Yeah, we
You
won't
know,
mention
like,
anything in
yeah,
current day that's
like
going.
Tartakov and all those guys. Like basically when the TV networks has gotten so big at that point, because this was at like the height of like television and everything. And cable was starting to come in, and these guys started turning cutthroat, and like all these stories started coming out about how horrible these guys were. So they took that and they translated that on top of the whole story of Scrooge.
Yeah, and just played it to turned it up to 11
Oh
basically.
God, yeah, dude, that's the scene between him and Bobcat Goldthwait
Oh,
is so freaking good. Where Bobcat's hunting him through the thing, through the office. It's awesome.
it's it's. Oh, sorry, hold on. Karen Cage, shut up.
Hey,
There you go. That's all. Of course, I hate Christmas.
Yeah. Johnny Cage is here, and he says of course, you hate Christmas. Yeah. For me, Christmas Eve. This is the first time I'm going to actually have someone here to celebrate Christmas with me in a long time, and my mother will be down for the first Christmas with me in like 20 years, because I used to work groceries and like work right up till Christmas Eve, so it didn't really matter too much to me. But my Christmas Eve tradition ended up being like watching great action movies on Christmas, and always topping up with Battle Beyond the Stars for some reason.
Oh my God, dude, that was actually a really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually a really cool science fiction. I mean, it's super dated at this point.
Oh,
Right.
gosh. But it's Magnificent Seven in space.
It's literally it's 70s sci-fi schlock at its absolute purest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you can't go wrong with that. And the other one I really liked was The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Oh, I love. They're remaking that, and I'm so terrified.
No, there's
No,
been
it's a
rumors
sequel.
of the remake for several years now.
Yeah.
But I have to say, when it comes to remakes, that is pretty much the only one I would kind of agree on.
I would
It's not
rather they did a
remake, guys.
remaster.
It's a sequel.
Yeah.
They're setting it how many
Right,
years in
yeah.
the future, so I don't feel it's quite as bad as a remake. They're getting the original cast back. They're getting like the original guys back who finally got the rights back to make it.
Oh,
So,
good.
I'm a lot more hopeful than like the Cowboy Bebop remake.
Oh God,
Oh, that's been cancelled already. That's been
Yeah,
cancelled
I
already.
know. They can't. Did you see the picture that Daniela Pena, whatever her name is, who played Faye? You see the picture she posted? She's salty as hell, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
what you mean the bird? You mean the one that complained about the fact that
The one
you
that
know,
pissed everybody off.
yeah, all anime
Yeah.
fans, oh yeah, well I don't have a size 0 waist and 38 double D boobs. You don't find anybody like that. Hold on, quick Google search later, and I'm busy for the next 5 hours, and then I've got a sore arm.
But Last Starfighter, I would rather they did like a that's one of those films that I would be okay with, like a George Lucas remaster of the effects.
Yeah, that's the reason
on
I'm
the
saying
original
the
movie.
remake of it, because the effects. I mean, they did the most amazing effects they could at the time. I mean, if you look, there's a documentary on YouTube about the making of it. It's like 40, 50 minutes long. They were using, which was at the time was the best thing in the world, the Cray supercomputers to render the graphics for that film.
Oh yeah.
And it was taking and this is these are supercomputers, and it was taking weeks to render like a couple of a couple of seconds of film.
Yeah, in the early days of computer generated graphics, man, it was a friggin' chore.
Yeah.
But
and that's why it looks the bomb when it came out, but now it's so dated. That's why, like I say, the only reason I would be up for a remake of Last Starfighter is just to upgrade it for the visual effects. I
want to see a Gunstar in all its glory.
Oh, you imagine the Death Blossom,
dude! I just want to hear that. I just want to hear that line again. What do we do? What do we do? We die.
Yeah.
the little DBZ eye scanner thing. We die.
Yeah.
No, that was, practicals hold up on that.
I used to belong to this wargaming club that sadly died, but one of my friends was always, whenever we had when we were losing, it's like, what do we do now, Andy? We die.
All right. So,
kiss your ass goodbye.
Number 2.
Or number 4.
Oh, number 4.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, jump in the gun. What, Bobby? You've got somewhere to go. You got a fucking takeaway coming or something. Jesus.
No, I'm the guy that brings the takeaway.
My number 4 is a comedy. It stars Dan Aykroyd and at his finest. I'm talking about Trading Places.
Another one that was just on the edge of getting on my
That's an honorable mention for me.
Oh yeah,
it's an honorable mention for me.
The movie, it's about two guys. Eddie Murphy, also at the height of his powers. The two of them are. Dan Aykroyd's playing this posh millionaire stockbroker who gets replaced, and Eddie Murphy's a bum on the streets, and they get replaced by a couple of millionaire brothers who have a dollar bet, and everything, and it gets involved in this insanity where the two of those guys finally meet up, figure out what's going on, and elaborate one of the best revenges of all time.
Oh, yes.
And I don't want to spoil too much beyond that, but if you've not seen Trading Places, and I get it, a lot of people haven't because it's the freaking 2020s. And
I was going to say, you don't want to spoil a movie that's 37 years old? Really?
Yeah, this movie's like from what? Trading Places? Jeez.
Trading Places like 1982, 83.
Yeah, I know.
It's a long ass time.
It's 30 years old.
Yeah.
83, so almost 40 years old now. It's like, Jesus, like...
Yeah,
but this movie, and it has a topless shot of the first topless shot of a certain woman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
hubba.
Yeah,
and it wasn't you, Foggy.
And
but like you say, Eddie Murphy at the height of his powers. When he's doing the whole legless vet thing, and the cop comes and fucking pulls out, and he's like, "It's a miracle! It's a miracle! Yay! I can walk again."
Yeah.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Christmas miracle.
Christmas miracle. Yep.
Yeah.
And I
Man,
just,
like the cast, man. He said Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Don Amici, which like later on they would do. Oh God, what was the movie with the old people? Cocoon.
Yeah.
Denham Elliott played his brother, the Mortimer Duke. The Duke brothers. Yeah, that was the thing. Jamie Lee Curtis at her absolute hottest.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
If guys really want to see her topless, you watch this movie and you will see her topless.
Yeah, she was gorgeous, man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, great movie. Funny, god dang. Some of the jokes in that movie were awesome, man. Like that's where Eddie Murphy came up with the my wife ain't gonna give me the rich one because I didn't buy my son the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. All that stuff, like stuff that
one of those movies that could definitely never be made today.
Oh God, no, you could never make that movie today, man.
God, no. Well, it's like you could never make Tropic Thunder now.
You could make 90% of the movies that we watched when we were younger.
No. Oh,
but man, great pick, man. Good movie. Yep. Like I said, I think a lot of these movies are going to be kind of like satelliting around our wheelhouse through this.
Oh yeah. It was so hard. I started like, what movies could there be? And then when I started going through the list, I'm like, what movies am I leaving behind?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what it was for me. It wasn't like what movies I'm going to pick. What movies are not going to make the list is what was on mine. So
yeah, that was the more tricky cutting it down.
Mm-hmm. So good pick. All right, my number 2.
Number 4.
Well, my number 4. Yeah, my second pick on the list.
Second pick.
The Ref.
Sorry, hold on. Matthew's in the house.
Ref.
The Ref. Yeah, okay.
The Ref from, I think it was 94, 95. Dennis Leary, Kevin Spacey, Judy Davis, and was it Christine something or other.
Yeah, I know who I was watching that movie last night in preparation for this.
Yeah,
that movie.
Judy Davis was in that movie. She played the mother, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So the premise of this movie, guys, this is back when Dennis Leary was at his like biggest. This is he was a huge stand-up comedian. Started translating into Hollywood, and this is one of the first movies that he did.
Yeah.
And Dennis Leary's whole thing was he was an insult comedian.
Mm-hmm.
So shock comedian or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So all of his.
I mean, his number one song is still one of the greatest songs.
I'm an asshole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is one of the greatest friggin' songs of all time.
Well, one of the best stand-ups is his No Cure for Cancer tour.
Oh yeah.
I've got that on DVD somewhere.
Yeah, I love that friggin' movie. But he plays a cat burglar who gets basically the heat comes down because his partner screws up because his partner's a drunk and doesn't come for his pickup, so he has to run and hide. And so he hides in this house with Kevin Spacey, who's basically at he and his wife are going to marriage counseling because they basically freaking hate each
Do you
other.
know who the marriage counselor is?
I can't remember who the guy was.
B.D. Wong.
That's right. Yeah, because
I was watching that last night. I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah, that's right. Because they kept asking him like, which one was right or wrong. He said, "I'm not." He's like, "Then what the fuck are we paying you for?"
Right.
You're supposed to tell us who's right and who's wrong. But dude, the Dennis Leary's did the MTV commercials. Dude, he was This was at the like I said, this was at the height of Dennis Leary's career. So he ends
J.K. Simmons was in it.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is the freaking military, the teacher from the school.
Yep.
Who's being blackmailed by the son.
Yeah, and like this, it's basically this dysfunctional family.
Mm-hmm.
And so he picks like the worst house to possibly hide in. So he takes the whole family hostage, and he basically he pretends to be their marriage psychologist who's been invited to Christmas dinner because their whole family starts showing up. It's just it's an awesome movie, and just at the end, the friggin' rant that he goes off on his family, and it's just legendary.
Yeah.
And then as he's going off on them, the family's like, well, screw it. We're just going to start going off on each other. So everybody just airs all their dirty laundry. And it's awesome. It's an awesome scene. But that's my number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Nice pick again.
Yep.
Again, there are no wrong answers, except mine, which are always right. And anybody who says different is wrong. Oh, so no, that's a good one. Right, my number 4 pick, Batman Returns.
Sweet.
All right,
Yep.
Batman Returns. I mean, obviously, this was before the superhero genre blew up massively to the MCU and the DCEU or whatever we've got today. You'd had Michael Keaton's Batman, great classic movie, and then Batman Returns took it even darker.
Yes.
Before they started.
I actually liked Batman Returns probably a little bit better than the first one.
And for all those who say Batman doesn't kill, for God's sake, he gets that ticking time bomb, shoves it in the clown's pants and knocks him down the sewer. That dude is dead.
Oh, I mean, he kills like a lot. He throws people off the top of the building in the Batman one.
He strafes the parade with a Batwing. But
Yeah,
Batman Returns went darker. You had fucking Danny DeVito,
Michelle Pfeiffer is the hottest Catwoman that ever existed.
Oh yeah.
Christopher Walken.
The movie wins right there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Mike
Christopher Walken's in it, man. It's like Christopher Walken at his absolute apex.
It is Batman. It is just a bit darker. There was a bit more of a dark humor element to it, with a lot of the, because of the clown gang and all the rest of it. It was a bit more tongue in cheek. It knew what it was. It didn't take itself too seriously. And then the 2 mic drops you have Christopher Walken, Michelle Pfeiffer in leather.
Oh my God.
Danny DeVito is the Penguin. I think he's still the best Penguin.
Well, if that's what you prefer, you can. I'm not judging you for Danny DeVito, but I'll take Michelle Pfeiffer.
I really like
armies of penguins armed with rocket launchers.
There's a level of it's interesting because it's almost like 2 different movies in one. On one, it's like you said, it's a very dark, very sinister take. Like Danny DeVito's friggin' Penguin in this movie is a horror villain.
Oh, God,
he's terrifying. It's awful. It's awful in the best way possible. But then you have a little bit of that campy 1960s Batman absurdity with the penguins and the rocket launchers and stuff like that. So it's like it's the one movie that they found where they kind of found that perfect balance, and then afterwards they completely screwed that up, and they went far afield of it that everyone was like, "Yeah, screw this shit, we're done."
Yeah, dark and gritty, and you could say quasi-realistic. To fucking let's stick neon on everything.
Yeah,
even all the way to fucking gangs going around with neon face paint, which shows up. What?
Batman Returns is awesome, and Danny DeVito's it's probably my favorite role that Danny DeVito's played outside of It's Sunny in Philadelphia.
What, over Twins?
Yeah, dude, Twins is not funny because of Danny DeVito. Twins is funny because of Arnold Schwarzenegger playing off of Danny DeVito.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Danny DeVito's has some good...
For me, Get Shorty is one of my favorite roles.
I was going to say, Get Shorty is probably like a really close second.
And there's AMXF in the house.
Yo, dude!
But like I said, he gets the scene where he's talking, he and Batman are basically they're meeting in silence and they're talking to each other. Like Danny DeVito is just sinister as hell in that. That line is that you don't really think you're gonna win, do you?
Yeah.
It's a great movie, man. I love it. And of course it's Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer. So
yeah. Oh come on, even to Danny DeVito when he assaults his own.
This unknown character and just steals the show as Christopher Walken does, but his character, I'm sure they must have made him into a comic book villain after this one.
I think they did, or they did a variation off of him.
Yeah, no, there was a Max Schreck in the comics at one stage.
Yeah.
So
Max Schreck is one of the great villains of all time.
Yeah.
Well, Christopher Walken is one of the great villains of all time.
Right.
I mean, for God's sake,
we have to do our top 10 Christopher Walken movies, and I just want to do that because we can't find anything that he needs to be one sole movie or franchise that he's associated with. Like, what is his greatest movie? I just want to do a top 10 Christopher Walken.
His greatest movie is whatever he's doing now.
Right.
His greatest movie is whichever one you've just watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for God's sake, he sells it about a watch up his ass.
Yeah.
Having a watch up his ass,
The Deer Hunter might be the one that I would eliminate because it's got Best Picture, but I mean, like,
he's awesome.
No, you can't. Problem with somebody like Walken is you can't nominate any. You can't cut out any one movie because you go, all right, yeah, we'll take out the Deer Hunter, but he was fucking awesome in this, or no.
Also, because unfortunately, only guys like us know how good the Deer Hunter is these days. So few people watch that movie. It's one of those movies, unfortunately, that's been lost. That it used to be everyone could watch a movie like that once a year.
Yeah,
and now you don't.
It's just like the Deer Hunter, Southern Comfort. You ever seen Southern Comfort? Remember that one?
I have seen Southern Comfort.
That's just like some guy. I was going through the Turnpike toll booth, and a guy looks at me and goes, "I just told some kid that Michael Nesmith from the Monkees died," and he just looked at me with this blank stare, and he's like, "I'm old."
Right.
But
oh dear, yeah. How about that for a reality check? When the movies we're quoting and referencing and mentioning are older than most of our viewers,
right?
Yeah,
that's why we do this. We're educating the younger generations.
We're here to educate. This entire channel or show was originally inspired by Steph, the altar nerd, because she hadn't seen any movies, and we're like, we need to show you some movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'd mention off all these movies, and she'd be like, never heard of that. Never heard of that. Never. God, and then me and Dave just went off on one about all these movies, and we ended up doing this. So, hey.
Man,
and Dave has got to 100 subs. Hey, custom URL, man.
But good choice, man.
No, thank you. Batman Returns #4.
So number 3, Dave.
My number 3 is a movie that happens about a pilot who's shot down behind enemy lines on Christmas Day. And I went into this movie, it was just after 9/11, and I thought to myself, we're never going to see movies like this anymore, with this kind of ambiguous plot and American soldiers behind enemy lines, and we're not going to send the guys in to rescue him, or the complicated things. But one of the things that most blew me away in this movie was it was the next level of sound effects. It's one of those first movies, what was the movie, the Miami Vice remake. When I went into this movie and you just sort of heard the gunshots or the tank, there's a scene where a tank's shooting at Owen Wilson, and it's just, you're like, wow. It's like you think you're in the beside the tank when it's shooting in the shot. And there's just all this kind of like crazy things. Gene Hackman plays the Admiral, and all these subtle political plots that are happening in the movie. But it's just this crazy action sequence, and like I said to myself, it was like the end of the 90s movies. We have, there's been a handful of movies that have been like that since, but it was just like, it was kind of the ending of an era, and I really appreciate this movie. And it is around Christmas time. I think it's a great action adventure that probably not a lot of people saw just because of when it came out and what was happening. But I do really love Behind Enemy Lines.
Yeah. That's a solid pick.
Yeah, and welcome Will Morris to the chat.
Yo, and Foggy's still here.
Yeah, great.
Cool. Yeah, this is probably one of the only movies that can tolerate Owen Wilson in. I've never been I don't have anything against the guy, but he definitely has a type of movie that he normally does. And
I don't know, I thought he was pretty good in Zoolander.
I could not get through Zoolander, man. Like I'm watching, it's got two of my favorite actors in it, man. I just couldn't get. I just.
There's that movie he does with Eddie Murphy, which is a remake of a '60s TV show. I'm trying to remember it, and it has nothing to do with the TV show. I've seen it, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, like the movie, the three movies that I could really deal with him in was where's it at? Was it
Wedding Crashers is definitely a movie with him.
Yeah, that wasn't one of them. One of them was I just had it in my brain. I'm looking at his thing and I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, hold
it
on.
now.
I think I know the one you mean. I'm just waiting for my IMDb's to boot up.
What was the one with Bill Murray? The
Well,
Royal
Armageddon makes my
the
list.
Royal Tenenbaums.
Tannenbaums.
Yep.
Yes, I liked him in that. I liked him in Armageddon,
Mm.
and I liked him in what was the movie with Jackie Chan?
Shanghai Noon.
Shanghai Noon. Shanghai
No,
Noon.
was it? Yeah, Shanghai. Was it Shanghai Nights first or Shanghai Noon first?
Shanghai Noon.
Shanghai Noon first.
I didn't like the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked
Night
him
was the second
in.
one.
I liked him in those three movies. Everything else, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's not like he's the worst. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, you're just playing the same character again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
true.
He did. I thought he was the best part of the the Disney show that I watched one episode and quit.
What, Loki?
Loki.
Yeah. When I heard what was happening with Loki, I was like, originally I thought it was going to be this great buddy cop thing with Loki and Owen Wilson as his like parole officer, but then they drop Owen Wilson almost immediately in favor of some woman, and I was like, you guys are destroying a great idea. Why do you need to do this?
Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't
Owen
a fan
Wilson
of what
best
they
as a
did.
buddy cop guy. Like,
Now, I like now Owen Wilson's character was actually okay because that's a character from the comics. I was like, okay, he kind of fits that character the way he was playing that character in the show. But then the show just went off the rails, and it was a bait and switch. It wasn't really about Loki. It was about Lady Loki. So I'm like, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
But
The Loquette.
yeah, but
Yeah.
Behind Enemy Lines, dude, was awesome.
Yeah.
I love Gene Hackman. Absolutely made that movie.
Right.
David Keith was pretty cool in it.
Yeah, because we've
what was
mentioned
the-
Behind Enemy Lines before, because it was kind of a remake of Gene Hackman's Bat 21.
Got 21.
Yeah,
yep.
it is. Yeah, that is a good description of it. It's
What
like
was the name of the actor who played the main bad guy? The Bosnian guy.
yeah, and this is also,
that guy's another one of those actors who's in a lot of stuff. Like you don't really know his name, but then you see him, you're like, oh, that guy.
right.
Mm.
Yeah, no, because it's also Yugoslavia was
Delamada.
the 90s. What's that?
Joaquin
Yeah,
Delamar-
the guy who played. Remember, Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah.
He played the big drug lord
Yep.
in Clear and Present Danger.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, this is like I said, it's kind of like the Keystone movie of the 1990s. Like
Mhm.
the 9/11 had just happened. This movie comes out, and it's like this is the end of those kind of movies that I grew up loving, and it just kind of like movies like the Peacemaker. Or and if people say women can't do action movies, watch The Peacemaker. Last Saturday,
Watch anything with Cynthia Rothrock
Executive
in.
Decision
Yeah.
again for the first time in like forever. That movie holds up, and like I just was going through it. I'm like, as a writer, I was like appreciating how they would make stuff and pay everything off in Executive Decision. That's a great movie.
Yeah. Will Morris. Yeah, I actually used to watch The Librarians. I thought that was a pretty cool show.
Mhm.
But yeah. So good pick, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I Spy is a movie with Eddie Murphy. It's a weird movie that me and a bunch of friends went and saw, and I just appreciated it for the chemistry between Wilson and Eddie Murphy. But the movie is like completely
Shit.
forgettable otherwise.
I mean, I think that also that movie also the reason why that movie died was it came out right around the time that Bill Cosby started getting those accusations
Mm,
and everything, and the original show was him and Robert Culp.
yeah,
Mm.
I mean, it has nothing to do with the original show, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There is one more. Story was asking, has anyone told you that me and Seth Rogen had the same kind of laugh not in a bad way? No, you're the first, Stormy. Congratulations.
Oh man. But all right, so my number 3, Bad Santa.
Mm.
Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton, Bernie Mac, Lauren Graham, and John Ritter.
His last role.
His last movie. Yep. Who else was it? Tony Cox, who hasn't really done much of anything since. and one of my favorite stand-up comedians, Brian Callen. Yeah, Bad Santa, basically, Billy Bob Thornton plays this drunk who every year plays Santa, not because he wants to, but because he acts as the inside man for Bernie Mac and Tony Cox, Tony Cox, who's the grease man, he's the guy who picks the locks and breaks the security systems and stuff, and then Bernie Mac is their fence, and he kind of starts forming this relationship with this woman he meets. He starts a relationship with.
That means
Lauren
they're fucking, folks.
Yes, it's basically.
Sorry, just spell it out for the kids in the audience.
She basically has a fetish that involves Santa Claus, and her son forms a relationship with Billy Bob Thornton. It's such a crude. Again, this is a movie that you probably couldn't make. You could make it today, but a lot of people would be up your ass about it.
Yeah, it would almost certainly go to direct to DVD. This is not a movie.
I mean, they did make Bad Santa 2, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And it didn't do very well.
No.
Yeah.
But and again, this is probably like this is a movie I really don't think you needed a sequel to, and it wouldn't be as good.
Mhm.
But man, dude, Billy Bob Thornton's one of those actors that he's either hit or miss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He definitely hits in this. He is the perfect asshole in this movie. It's
you might say
freaking
he's almost
awesome.
playing himself.
Yeah, but then like the reason why I put Tony Cox on here is he really comes off like he holds up against Billy Bob Thornton, man. Like he tears Billy Bob Thornton's a new ass in this movie. It's a really great film. If you haven't seen it, I think it's from like what 2003,
2003.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theaters. There was me and 20 other people, and only me and one other guy laughed out loud during that movie. It was just like everyone else was just kind of like staring silently at the movie.
It's a very polarizing film, man. You're either gonna laugh your ass off, or you're gonna be like, "This is disgusting,"
or you're dead inside. You either laugh at it or you're dead inside.
Yeah.
I was in a room with a lot of dead people that day, and I think I had a cold. So
I think this is was this one of Bernie Mac's last films? Bernie Mac got sick not too long ago. Yeah. He died about 5 years later. So, but yeah, that's my number 3. That's Bad Santa.
Nice. Okay, right. My number 3. The Long Kiss Goodnight.
There we
There
go.
you go. We're gonna have. There's gonna be some.
Oh yeah, this is definitely
repeats
one
on
where we're going to have some
Like I said,
overlap.
a lot of these movies are
my
just
top
gonna.
2 are overlapping other people.
Yeah.
I bet they are.
There's gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot of movies that, like I said, revolve around our wheelhouse because we all kind of like. I mean, they're just so awesome.
Right.
But so The Long Kiss Goodnight, like we already said, Gina Davis, Samuel L. Jackson. Gina Davis is the perfect homemaker, the perfect wife. You know, she's always cooking, looking after the kids, been the typical, good wife that every man deserves. Stays in the kitchen or the bedroom, and that's it. And she has no memory. She's married to the doctor who saved her life because she was in a coma, and nothing special happens until they're doing a the Christmas parade, the little town Christmas parade, and it's it's on local news or something, and somebody spots her and recognizes her, and the first thing they say is, "Shit, I thought she was dead." And from there, it just degenerates into, she got knocked up, she got shot in the head, she was in a coma, she gets her memories back, she immediately cuts her hair and tries to seduce Samuel L. Jackson. And it turns out she is the most kicker. I mean, fuck me, Commando would be fucked if he went up against her. People say, like somebody mentioned earlier, women can't do action movies. Really, watch this film. This is just such a perfect. I mean, the action is so well choreographed. It's got the humor beats to it. it's just phenomenal, and it's sad. It's one of those ones which was missed. I don't think it did very well in the actual cinemas, and it was not very well known or when it came out on DVD, VHS. I think I had it on VHS. I don't have it on DVD at the moment, unfortunately. And it just went under a lot of people's radars.
Right.
Well, they didn't advertise it for shit.
No. Yeah. I mean, granted, Samuel Jackson wasn't as
dropped
big as he is
into
now.
The thing because they think they don't care, or the advertising or whatever it was. They're just like, this is the write-off movie. When it loses, we'll subtract the loss from our taxes.
Yeah. And like you say, it's Gina Davis, Samuel Jackson, fucking Craig Burko was the bad guy. I think it was Tom Armanders. It's Brian Cox, for God's sake, David Morse.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, David Morse. Who, if you guys have never watched Law and Order, he was on there. That guy plays he's one of those guys. David Morse is one of those guys again, who's been in everything. And if you see it, like, you don't know his name, but you see his face, you go, "Oh yeah, that guy."
Yeah, that dude. But I mean, for God's sake, when Brian Cox and Samuel Jackson are talking, because she thinks that David Morse's character is her ex.
Yeah.
And they're talking, and Samuel Jackson and Brian Cox are talking, and he's like, and Samuel Jackson's like, dude, just relax. I mean, for God's sake, she even knows how the man pees. He's like, of course she knows how he pees. He was her target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And suddenly all shit breaks loose. And you've got Brian Cox going, what was it? Talking about having the little pistol hidden down his pants, because he's like, because when blokes pat down other blokes, they'll do a very thorough job, but they're very, very, very wary of touching the junk. So I've always got a little backup piece hidden down my pants, which also obviously plays into it later on in the film as well. But it's got the action, the humor. There's a little bit of drama to it as well, like you said earlier, Bob. The way her two distinct personalities, she flips. And then gradually her two personalities integrate into one person, becoming a new character, a third character for the third act. It's like the first act, she's Susie Homemaker. Second act, she's Psychotic Bint. Third act, she's the psycho who will look after your house.
Right.
She's a psycho with a duster.
Where she's like starting to first realize she's like a little different, where she's just chopping like all the food up, and they're like, and then, maybe I was a chef, and then she slams the knife into the wall, and like,
she throws it across the room.
Maybe I wasn't a chef.
Like, chefs do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a Long Kiss Goodnight's a fun movie.
Yeah. Oh, so that is my number 3.
Okay.
All right.
I'll put in. I'm just going to start mentioning some of my honorable mentions here. Okay. You know what? I originally until last night, The Ref was going to be number 1, but I've dropped it down just partly because other people have talked about it, but and I wanted to bring other movies into the mix, but also I just didn't feel it had the same thing where I was maybe when I would first watch it as a kid in the 90s.
Yeah, there's a part in that movie where it kind of drags a little bit.
Yeah, though all the comedic stuff with the cops, except for the one scene where the lieutenant talks about he's getting fired, and he turns to his boss, the counselor or the mayor, and he says, I screwed your wife 3 times in a row. She said you never went 3 times, and it's like. Like that whole subplot could probably be removed. Yeah, and the movie would have been just as good, if not better.
Just as good. Yeah.
It was, and it's like, oh, Cujo, you got bit by Cannibal. The dog's name's Cannibal. But yeah, that whole I did not realize how funny the entire like break-in scene was until I watched it again last night. And I'm like, oh. Okay, there is a lot to this whole thing. That guy was prepared for a thief.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very Home Alone moment. But no, my number 2 is a movie that has it's just about a homeless vet coming into town right around the holiday season, not meaning to do anything wrong or harm anyone, but gets into no trouble because a mean-spirited sheriff, played by Brian Dennehy, decides he wants to make an example of this person. And, of course, I'm talking about Rambo First Blood.
Yeah.
Well, it was just called First Blood. It wasn't even called Rambo.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's
It was
true.
just called First Blood.
Yep.
So
And yeah, this is of course like Sly Stallone comes off of just off of Rocky, and this movie had a hell of a time getting made. They changed the ending so that his character could live, because it was such a humongous hit, and just the whole like real first time a lot of people got upset when this movie happens because like Vietnam vets are not like that. But on the other hand, it gave this kind of like, no, Vietnam vets were upset that when they came back from what they were doing during the war, they were treated like shit. And
also, he's not your typical Vietnam vet. Let's be honest here. He's not your average Vietnam grunt who went there, was conscripted and went there. He was
Special Forces.
Yeah, Special Forces. So he's seen a lot more shit than your average vet.
Yeah. And the way this town decides to treat him, or these cops decide to treat him, and the crazy adventure that goes on, or crazy, I would not say adventure, but just this crazy thriller movie that happens as a result of it. Like the franchise goes on to be the franchise it is, but watching First Blood and realizing how different a movie it is.
Yeah.
And Brian Denny, he's just like this cop who's trying to protect his town because some mysterious strangers coming in, and you kind of feel sorry for his character, but what he does
in the beginning, you kind of you're in the beginning you do, but as time goes on and he gets more and more, it stops being about it. Basically, his character, it stops being about trying to do law and order and starts being about him winning the fight.
Yeah, it becomes
very Moby Dick.
It transitions from just business trying to protect my town to this is personal, bitch.
Yeah, and so it's like, and it's basically his character. He just, it's hard to put it into words, but he goes from kind of understanding his point. He's like, okay, you got this drifter comes into town, you're just trying to keep everything quiet and everything, to now you're just being a freaking asshole.
Yeah.
And not in the fact that he does not recognize, and even in the beginning, he actually chastises one of his guys for talking shit to him. He says, "Hey, leave him alone. Just process him and go." But then during the processing, when that guy pulls out the knife and it triggers his PTSD, because you got to remember he was tortured, and everything. Brian Dennehy's character just completely dismisses any responsibility for what happened. Because remember when Troutman comes in, he's like, "Oh, so basically your weapon malfunctioned." He just completely didn't like. It's like he just completely disregards any responsibility for.
Nothing I did mattered. It's
all about it's your fault, and now I'm allowed to do whatever I have to do to take this guy down.
Yeah, I've got to clean up your mess.
It's this transition from like looking at this character, like you kind of understand where he's at, to where I'm like, it's just unexcusable what he does.
Yeah. And I think that's that's what and it seems to be on impact on you, is that it's the three characters that really make that movie. It's Troutman, Denny, and Sly Stone. And it's not just about like, because of the movie franchise becomes more about Sly Stallone in the future, but in this opening act, we get to see like the what happened to Sly Stallone's character Rambo, but we also see the degeneration of Brian Denny, who really brings it in this movie.
This is much more psychological and cerebral than what turned into running around with an M60, fucking spraying and playing chicken with a tank.
Yeah, and it basically kind of shows it's the different perspective and personality of the people. Like it's like the people who were in the war, the people who with Rambo. That's like the people who were in the war. With Dennehy's character, it's the people who watched the war.
Yeah,
and then with Troutman, it's the guys who ran the war.
Yeah,
so you have these three different perspectives of the whole thing, and then that scene at the end when Rambo just breaks down.
Yeah,
and when he's talking to Troutman, that kind of puts the whole thing into perspective. Rambo's a much more cerebral movie than people remember. It being.
Well, the thing is, because
the sequels just went completely off that.
Well, I was going to say that's one thing about the first one is, like I say, it was just called First Blood, and then the second one started. Yeah, it did touch on more, still to try to pull the emotional strings of the vets and all the rest of it, but it became a computer game movie.
Yeah,
as it were nowadays. Where it's just got to get the high score. Ding ding. I mean, Hot Shots Part 2. did that perfectly. You know, when it's like when Charlie Sheen's standing there with a machine gun, it's like, brrr, and he just got this counter in the top going ding 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 ding, more bloody than RoboCop, ding 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 ding,
Yeah,
more bloody, more kills than Rambo, ding 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 ding. You know, bloodiest movie ever.
yeah, it completely did away with the dramatic element of it, and I think it had to, because the first one dealt with it so well that like, there was no way you're going to be able to touch it again. So like, we're just going to turn this into an action film.
Yeah. I mean, we had a similar situation with the Death Wish franchise. The first movie's so much more than like, this is a serious movie there with a message, and then by Death Wish 3, it's just like he's taking out 20 guys.
He's taking out the bad guys.
Yeah, it's just an action film.
Yeah,
but good pick, man.
Yep. And welcome Haifa to the chat.
No, it's Tifa. It's Tifa. We've got Foggy and we've got Tifa in the chat at the moment. And if you don't know what that's reference to, go over to the Green Zone channel. I think it's linked from David's, and check out Orc Roast, where I get to meet the plebs. I mean the peasants. I mean the fans, and have a little one-on-one conversation with them.
Yeah, I still need to watch your one with Stormy. Did that?
Yeah,
that was
fun.
No,
that's been up for a week or two, mate.
Okay.
Cool.
God damn, yeah, you've got to watch that one. That's why she's foggy.
Okay.
All right. So my number 4 film.
Number 3, or are we? No, we're on number 2s now, aren't we? Number 2s, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well,
my 4th film, my number 2, Black Christmas.
Oh.
And I will specify the original, not that piece of crap that came out in 2006. And the even bigger piece of crap that came out in 2017. I'm talking about the original Black Christmas that had a huge effect on the horror industry, starring Olivia Hussey at her absolute hottest, Margot Kidder before she went batshit crazy, and the absolute legend John freaking Saxon. Basically the movie is about a group of sorority girls who are stalked by a killer named Billy. If you are a horror fan, you know that this movie had a massive effect on horror films going forward. A lot of horror directors point at this movie and say that this movie is what kind of influenced them as they went forward. Little piece of trivia: Elvis Presley said that Black Christmas was one of his favorite movies of all time.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Really?
Yep. He loved this movie. This movie had it's kind of weird how it's been forgotten in the horror genre, but when it came out, it had this massive effect. But it's like I said, basically Margot Kidder is kind of the sorority mom, and Olivia Hussey is the main character. And it's just the way the movie goes is it's sadistically, the killer's so sadistically intelligent about the way he goes about the kills and everything. You're like, how the hell are these people not finding these bodies and stuff? It's because he's so strategic about the way he places everything. So again, this movie's DNA is just like woven throughout horror history. Because one of my favorite horror movies of all time is called Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and one of the characters in the Behind the Mask is whoops, hang on, got a long going off.
Well, whilst you're doing that, throwback to Battle Beyond the Stars as well. John Saxon.
Yep.
Right.
Again, another one of those guys that has been in damn near everything, and like you don't really know his name, and then you see his face, you're like, oh yeah, that guy.
That dude, yeah.
But Scott Wilson's character in Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon, the illusion is that he's actually Billy grown up as an older man now, like because it takes place like 30, 40 years later. But the illusion is that he's Billy, and his wife is Olivia Hussey, the woman that he was pursuing. That he actually ended up landing the girl that he was stalking. So it's like it's a really cool little callback. There's like these little clues and everything. And there's a scene where Scott Wilson is talking to his wife, played by Bridget Newman, and she's like, Like I still remember that night when he was coming after me. And he goes, I almost got you too, didn't I? And she's like, yes, you did. It's this weird little like it's at the same time it's funny, but it's creepy. It's like she ended up falling in love with the friggin' serial killer that was
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah,
Stockholm syndrome.
It's if you haven't seen Behind the Mask, it's such an awesome movie. There's so many of these little callbacks. See, and like they talk about the tropes and everything. It's Behind the Mask is like two movies and is like a movie within a movie. So but yeah, like but Black Christmas, still one of my favorite horror films. It's a little dated, obviously, because I mean, my God, the movie was filmed in 1974.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you, like, this is the first movie where it's like the guy's in your house kind of trope comes.
Yeah,
up.
that's what this is the movie that started that trope.
Yeah, and just and that's a big part of the plot, and of course the ending.
Yeah,
like,
and then because the
you
ending was like
what really happened.
Yeah, the ending is such this is before like every movie had like what a twist, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, the twist on this movie was like, oh shit. It's like it ain't over.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Told you.
Yeah, but yeah, awesome movie. Highly recommend it. And if you go into it with, like I said, with the right mindset and realize that this movie was made like almost 50 years ago now.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it was a long time ago, but it's still an awesome movie.
Yeah. Oh no, solid pick.
Mm.
Right, so my number 2 movie then?
Yep.
Is it my go? Right. Before I do, just want to give a couple of honorable mentions. This is not all my honorable mentions I've got listed, but one of them is Fat Man.
Okay. Yep.
The newest movie in our that pretty much the only movie we've mentioned in this from this decade or last decade even. But no, Fat Man is just fun. Mel Gibson as Santa, and he's an arsehole as well. Mm-hmm. And it just it turns from this weird thing where he's sponsored by the US government, you know, and the elves, they're weird, they're just freaky, weird, you know, it's like their religion, all the rest of it. All the way through to suddenly we've just got this big action movie, you know, near the end. Yeah. It wasn't good enough to get in the top 5, but it deserved an honorable mention because it's the only movie that's come out recently which was, you know, good like that. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Hollywood. We've already had the reference.
Yeah, we've done the ref, and welcome to the channel. I think this is the first time
welcome
here.
That's my buddy.
I don't recognize this guy.
That's my buddy Frank. That's my he's my co-host on the Wrestling Council.
Sweet, awesome. Dude, hit that subscribe button. Make yourself 101.
Right?
But
this is a bit of a celebration stream as well because Dave just hit 100 subs. Woohoo!
Yep. Mm-hmm. But that movie also has Walter Goggins in it, who's like,
yeah.
If you're a fan of,
Justified,
Justified, he's also he was in L.A. Confidential.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Which is another honorable mention of mine, by the way.
What is that? Not The Wire, the other one.
He does
Shield.
Shield.
That's good.
He does the voice for Cecil in Invincible.
He's the best part of the second G.I. Joe movie.
He was in quite a few episodes of Sons of Anarchy. And he was
in Predators.
Thank you.
And he was in a movie that we talked about on an episode before. He was in a movie. He was in Cowboys and Aliens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So he's another one of those. He's another one of those actors. He's such a good character actor. Again, we've said this multiple times. He's one of those guys that the minute you see his face, like the name is like nothing. The minute you see his face, you're like that guy.
Dude.
Yeah. So I love him. He's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite. And he was in the Hateful Eight.
Wow.
He's the guy that's going to take the sheriff's job, and he's actually like he's an old Southerner, and he's one of the dudes at the end. He's the guy at the end as they're dying. He's reading the letter. That's Walter Goggins.
Right.
And funny fact, in Fat Man, his on IMDb, his character's name in Fat Man is Skinny Man.
But great movie.
But yeah. So that is an honorable mention was Fat Man. LA Confidential, I had as an honorable mention. And another one, which I had as an honourable mention, is Jack Frost, not the Keaton version.
Yeah, you're talking about the horror film.
I'm talking about the super cheap budget Jack Frost 1 and 2, because they're just so stupid and silly and they're just fun. They made it on a budget of about £3.50 with one set. They had like 1 week in a soundstage to do it all. You've got Jack Frost, the killer snowman, sexually abusing people. Fucking,
that's a messed up movie, but
it's so fucked up. It is so wrong.
Have you guys ever seen Tree Venge?
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
I was at I think it was at a Halloween party, not a Christmas. No, it was some party, and someone put this stuff on, and my friend and I afterwards, like, we cannot just unseen what we just saw. That's one of the most disturbed movies we've ever saw.
Yeah.
Like,
for anybody who's wondering, I think that's the movie where the Christmas trees basically come alive and start killing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was an entire movie based on that one scene from Evil Dead.
It kind of pays a little bit of tribute to Evil that scene.
Yeah, things happen in that movie, and you're just like,
yeah, it's messed up.
I'm never having a live tree ever again after watching that movie.
But
nice. But yeah, my actual number 2 pick is Lethal Weapon.
Nice. There you go.
I don't need to say anything else about that movie. Lethal Weapon. Drop the mic, walk off stage. That is my number 2 Christmas movie. It's fucking Christmas! Brrr! You know?
That final fight with Gary Busey versus
that's one
Mel
of the best.
Gibson in the mud is just...
That is one of the best. That is one of the best cinema fights of all time.
Oh, I don't know. Have you seen Tony Jaa in Warrior King?
No, I said it's one of the best. It was the best.
Fair.
I mean, it's right up there with Roddy Piper.
They Live.
And
David,
They Live.
Yep.
Dude,
How did I know you were going right there?
Yeah, dude. Well, dude, when your fight scene has been parodied in other movies, including South Park.
Oh yeah.
You know that fight scene is legendary, man. Like, and if you ever watch South Park, the big fight between Jimmy and Timmy, the two
cripple fight.
Yeah. The cripple fight is based off, like, move for move is based off of the fight scene in They Live.
Yeah, and I just love the way Cartman walks into the department store and he gets on the tannoy and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, in the car park outside, you will find cripple fight.
Yeah. But, Hiffa said, "Never heard of Black Christmas, but that monologue, I'm going to go watch the original." Yeah, if you're a fan of horror films and you're able to recognize that it's going to be a little dated, but just the way it's laid out and everything, and you look for the tropes that are like common today, those were brand new back then.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Haifa, I'll go and give him the name right once. Haifa, he's actually got a cool little channel. Go check him out. He hasn't posted anything recently because he's been a bit ill and life gets in the way. But no, he does. He's done some good movie reviews over there. Gives his opinion because that's what it stands for. How I feel about. But his real name is Tifa, and he was one of my guests on Orc Roast as well.
Yeah, he was your first one, wasn't he?
He was. Yes, he was my first Orc Roast victim. Guest. But yeah, so that's my number 2. I don't need to say anything else about it. Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
And I have a horrible feeling we might have all picked the same film for number 1.
No. I definitely know that's not true because other people picked. Bob, I believe, picked my number 1, and of course that is Bad Santa. That movie, oh my god, the whole situation, that final car chase with him and the cops.
Yeah, dude.
They track him down and they fill him full of holes in front of all the kids. I mean, oh my god.
Yeah, it's
the cops thought that was going to go so wrong.
And here's the thing, we talked about the mom's fetish thing. That scene, it could have just been a cheap, sex scene thing that they put in there. It's so damn funny when it's happening because of the context that leads up to that scene. And it's just like, because they're in the bathroom stall, and it's so freaking funny. I was laughing. There's so many moments in the film that are so real.
Him hustling girls in the pinball
Yeah.
room, and
Dude.
just like, and John, it's John Ritter's last role, and he's playing this character who's like the annoying boss who's trying to keep everyone going, and he just plays it so nasally. And I think you should be doing this and this. And I'm like, oh my god, it's a great. It's just.
It's such an irreverent
you have to watch
film.
this movie.
Yeah. It's such a perfectly irreverent film.
Yeah.
Ignore the sequel. Ignore the sequel.
Yeah.
The sequel didn't happen. It's like there was
it's
only
what Seth Rogen and what's her name wanted to do with that stupid TV show and
yes. And
well, I haven't checked on Rotten. I'm going to check on Rotten Tomatoes now. But last time I saw on Rotten Tomatoes, that stupid thing was at 4% audience.
Yeah,
score.
it's a terrible movie.
But yeah. No, solid pick. Solid pick.
If you're going to make fun or lampoon something, you should. It's something someone said about Norm Macdonald said about the Trump impersonation that Alec Baldwin was doing, and he said the problem with that impersonation is Alec Baldwin doesn't like Donald Trump. You have to like whoever you're impersonating, and that will come through and make it more genuine.
Yeah, or at least appreciate who they are.
Yeah. And if you're not, you're just not going to be. It's not going to be parody. It's just going to be making fun of someone. And I think that's in some way what happens with that TV show. They didn't actually like Christmas. It's clearly who made Bad Santa. They like Christmas. They just wanted to make fun of all the tropes.
Yeah, well, Seth Rogen and Silverman, they're Jewish anyway.
Yeah.
And I just double checked. It's still sitting at 4% on the audience score. No critics have reviewed it.
There was two people who reviewed it. One of the people, one of our usual suspect of watchers, it was Heel versus Babyface, I believe, who went and
I love that guy.
Pointed out that no, two people actually reviewed it, but if you there's like a button you press and it comes up with like the things, but I guess there's a certain amount of number. They need like 10 reviews before it triggers a percentage or something like that.
Yeah.
And I definitely have some honorable mentions I can mention as well. Invasion USA happens at Christmas time.
Yep. That's another one. I was like, I know someone's gonna either put that on the list or it's gonna be an honorable mention.
Yeah, that movie is just like, oh my god, like for some reason, our video on Chuck Norris is now at 2,200 views, and
I know.
I keep talking to Kevin. I need to start reviewing Chuck Norris movies because I do like them, and I should just do that and lean into what people want to watch. It seems, but definitely Invasion USA is as a crowd pleaser, one of the best of those Chuck Norris 80s action movies, where the plot makes no damn sense, but you kill lots of bad guys.
Yeah. And it has one of the best action movie posters of all time, where he's got.
Was he standing with the twin miniguns?
With the twin Uzis,
yeah.
And another honorable mention for me would be Grumpy Old Men.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's I just didn't feel like too much of a Christmas movie, but it's definitely it's a winter movie. I think it's a better way to describe that with all the ice fishing and all the other things that happen. But yeah, that movie is certainly up there in quality. And just all the insanity that happened. Like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, two guys who've been in 100 movies together, decide to really go after each other. And it's
big time.
So well.
Yeah.
No,
and they're fighting over Anne Margaret, who at the time still was a dynamite. Like, wow.
Cool. So where's that number one, man?
Yeah, that was my number one.
Cool. Sweet. All right. So my number one movie we've already talked about tonight, Batman Returns.
Ooh.
Now, I deliberately left some movies off here like Gremlins because those are so universal. I wanted to put some stuff on here that maybe people didn't necessarily think of as Christmas movies.
Gotcha.
But and me being a comic book guy, obviously Batman Returns is going to be on this list.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, man, like that main cast, Keaton, DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, who, like I said, was never hotter. Christopher Walken, who is literally the show stealer in everything he does.
Yes.
It's just it has to be on the list. And like I said, like this was of the Burton Batman films, this was my favorite because I appreciate the first film for what it was. But this movie, like it took Batman into a much darker place, And I did so much so I didn't mind the camping because I've never been a big fan of the 60s Batman show, the campiness and everything. I didn't mind the campiness because I know that it was a callback. But if you look at the core of this movie, it's about just an absolutely sadistic piece of shit up against this hero who just doesn't really know. He's kind of at a crossroads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because that relationship that he has with Catwoman. But there's so many great scenes in this movie, man. And Danny DeVito is just absolutely terrifying.
Oh, he's chewing up all the scenery on that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this was one of the first movies I really think that Danny DeVito like really stretched his acting ability, and he just plays a maniacal lunatic, and
so well.
And the visual of him is so good. The visual, like visually, like the transformation of him into the Penguin.
I think they actually did nail the Cobblepot look.
Yes, like this, it was enough of a nod. Again, like I said, to that '60s idea of like the Burgess Meredith, and then just taking it into horror territory,
right?
Oh,
you
gotcha.
know, with like with like the weird, like the physical deformations and the black drool.
Yeah,
that come down like when he would really start going into those crazy monologues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, and I have action figures and stuff of this character because like I don't like. A lot of movie tie-ins, the action figures and stuff aren't really all that great. This was one of the first times I actually bought into it, and I actually bought some of the action figures and stuff because he just looks so friggin' sadistic. But yeah, one of my favorite movies, my personal favorite of all the original Batman series from the 90s, and yeah, it's a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody says.
Hey, I said it was.
Yep.
Oh, it definitely is. Have you ever read there was a first draft script for that movie that's very different, but it's a very interesting thing. I found this website years ago that was all like lost drafts of different movies, and it had a very interesting twist in it. And it's basically, it does have the Penguin and Catwoman, but they're basically supervillains coming into the city to fight him. And it introduces Robin. One of the great situations is that Batman is exploring the history of the 5 families that's in the city, and he finds out the reason his parents are killed is not just random luck, but they were preventing these the 5 families from running the city.
It was kind of that script was actually kind of the catalyst that created the storyline about the Court of Owls. In the comic books, if you've ever read the Court of Owls storyline, it's a really good storyline, which is basically there's the Wayne family, and also there's like a little nod to that in Sean Gordon Murphy's White Knight series, where you find that the Wayne family had a lot more to do with the history of Gotham than most people really think about. And it was like it's a little convoluted in the script. It's not quite handled quite as well as they did in like the Court of Owls and White Knight, but it was an interesting idea of like the story of like Thomas and Martha Wayne's murder was not just a random act. It was something that was like there was motivation behind it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've seen that. It's kind of cool to look at it.
Yeah, I thought that reveal, reading the script, I thought that reveal was the best part of that script. Other things I'm very
well, they brought that up in Batman Begins, didn't they?
Yeah,
TV show or movie in the future.
Yeah, I didn't like and I didn't like the introduction of Robin they were gonna do.
Yeah,
this is bad. I'm glad they didn't do this.
Yeah,
but real quick, my honorable mentions: Long Kiss Goodnight, Trading Places, and First Blood.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Me. Right. Before I've got one more honorable mention to make. It's a movie which I'm pretty sure nobody here will have ever heard of. It's a Nordic. I think it's Finnish.
Okay.
Called Rare Exports.
I've heard of that movie. I just don't know if I can't remember it.
It basically, I mean, it's how can I describe it? It's weird. It's not that weird. I mean, if you watch the trailer that's on YouTube, it starts off your family friendly kind of Christmassy movie kind of looking thing, and then it just takes a complete fucking 180. Basic storyline: this small town, they dig up Santa. They find Santa, and he is an abomination. He is a right little fucker, and they're trying to sell him. And it all goes wrong. Where you've got Santa, you've got elves, and I'm trying not to spoil too much. But they're not. He's not your typical Santa. They're not your typical elves. Check it out. It's a movie which you won't feel like you've wasted your time watching. Of course, like I say, it's Finnish, I think it is, so it's all subtitled.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, that is well worth the watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link to the trailer for it on IMDb.
Yeah. But that is worth a watch. But anyway, my number one movie is Gremlins.
Huh?
There you go.
I honestly thought that. I mean, I appreciate your. Hey, who's this? Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining there. Hopefully you subscribed.
Yeah, I hope you subscribe, and I will not be checking out. Oh God, can we block the spammer? Can we block the spammer, please, Dave? Since I am not modded, so I can't do it.
I blocked them.
Okay, good.
First official spammer. I'm definitely growing up. I have 100 subscribers. I have a unique URL, and I've now had my first official spammer.
Yeah, like
Good.
that movie, like Rare Exports. I would kind of like compare that movie to like The Thing. It's in the idea that these people dig this thing up, and then they expect the outcome to be one thing, and then like the elves start coming and it turns into something else.
Yeah,
it's a weird, it's a dark comedy basically.
Yeah, you could say, but it's very Christmas orientated because it has got Santa Claus in it and his elves. But like I say, my number one pick is Gremlins. Cool. What more can you say? Gremlins is based around the Christmas time, you know. I mean, Billy's dad's looking for the ultimate Christmas present for him. So, I mean, Billy's dad, who invented the smokeless ashtray, don't forget. You know?
Yeah.
And so he ends up getting him a Mogwai. Gizmo! Through nefarious means, because, you know, his I can't remember the old man's name. His grandson, I think it is, sells it to him because he's like, this shop makes no money. We need cash. Give me cash. You have Mogwai. And one of the rules is with a Mogwai, you cannot feed them after dark, after midnight.
After midnight, yep.
Which always confused me. It's like, okay, but when can you start feeding them the next day? You know, because technically you feed them at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's after midnight.
I think it's at 1 o'clock. At 1 a.m., you can start feeding them again.
Oh, is it 1 a.m.? Okay.
I don't know. That's in my
so
mind,
they have to fast for an hour. Bang!
I love how the second movie does it so much. It goes to the trope so well, parodying itself, which is one of the great things about that movie.
Yep. Oh yeah. But you know, you got Spike as the evil. Oh yeah, and you can't get Mogwais wet because then they're like amoebas. They split.
Yeah, they reproduce.
Yeah, they reproduce.
And they don't just reproduce, like, they reproduce fast.
They're like critters. They're like krites, the way they reproduce. It's just quick, bang, 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 done. But yeah, Gremlins, I mean, it's got the humor. It was pretty terrifying if you watched it as a little kid anyway.
Yeah.
But it's got the humor to it. I mean, the way the neighborhood gets completely fucked up, and they play with that in the second one as well with, what's his name, who's got the PTSD from it, who comes down over to meet Billy.
Yeah.
You know, this is such a fun film. You can watch it every year and not get bored.
Right.
So I had to put Gremlins as my number one. Yeah, I was thinking, is that a bit too stereotypical? But, I mean, come on, my only real Christmas movie, as it were, is Scrooged at number 5. So, I just had to put, yes, thank you, Matthew. Yes, part 2, it's Mohawk. Part 1, it's Spike. But, the thing is with part 2 as well, because it was Warner Brothers, they just get all the IPs in there. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Part 2 is, part 1 is Stripe, and then part 2 is Mohawk, yeah.
Yeah. But no, Gremlins. If you have never watched this movie, you are dead on the inside.
I'm going to be dead from the inside then.
You've never watched Gremlins?
It's just something that slipped through the radar. I've never watched Gremlins. I've seen Gremlins. I went and saw Gremlins 2 in the theater, but I was too young when it was the first movie came out, and it never seemed to ever show up on any a surprising thing. We watch a movie every night, kind of on cable, basic cable, and the Gremlins somehow always slipped through the fingers. So I never have seen Gremlins. Maybe I'll fix that tonight. Because it's your number one pick.
I would suggest watching it. It is worth watching. It's a pretty funny movie.
And you also get a context for some of the bits in Gremlins 2 as well.
Yeah.
Gremlins 2 is its own entity. You can watch that without seeing the first one, but you get more if you've seen the first one.
So Will Morris said, no Iron Man 3? No. Iron Man 3 is not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's the worst Iron Man movie. So, yeah.
It's so unlike anything else that was made in the Marvel franchise. I do appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah,
but it's they ruined
the
Mandarin. I appreciate it for the Mandarin Black movie, but it's just a terrible. Iron
Man. They absolutely butchered the shit out of the Mandarin. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. That got a funny laugh out of me when I first saw it. But
not me, man. I was pissed.
No, I did like it for the subverted expectation side of it, and then I thought about it for about half a second and went, no, hang on, this is really fucking bad. Why the fuck would you do this?
Yep.
I
despise
the only reason that movie exists is because what's his name? The Iron Man actor's name is escaping me right
Robert
now.
Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is like, the only way I'll make another Iron Man movie is you have to give Shane Black the role of the directorship. That's what happened there. That's clearly what happened, right? I will not make another movie outside the ones I'm contractually obligated to unless you hire Shane Black as the guy.
Yeah. Which I was like, well,
yeah,
that sucks. But cool, man. Good honorable mentions, man. And that's some good choices, guys.
Yeah. And I hope we have educated people here a little bit.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this, is to educate people, to let them know what kind of movies they should spend their time watching over the holiday season instead of watching just another white Christmas.
Yeah. Movies they might have missed, like fucking Gremlins.
Yeah, watch movies with some balls.
Right.
I love your balls. I love your balls.
And Die Hard 2, one of the big things I really like about Die Hard 2 is they bring in that the I can't remember his name, but the guy who's playing the South American dictator of Panama. That's played by one of the most legendary actors of Italian cinema in one of his few English-speaking roles. I remember watching this guy in this incredibly great movie that was about Italian corruption in Italy with the mafia, and there's a scene in the movie where he's the new young prosecutor and he thinks this one lieutenant's really corrupt and he can't figure out what the guy's up to, and the guy sits, and it turns out the lieutenant's trying to get rid of the mafia. And he sits down with them and he says, this is going to happen to you one day. Someone's going to knock on your door and they're going to say, hey, we have this apartment or suite that we're going to give to you at a discounted rate. And they'll be offering you all these kind of services. And he's like, that'll never happen. And then half an hour later in the movie, someone knocks on his door at his apartment. It's we have the penthouse suite available for you if you're just willing to move upstairs. And it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, yeah, his name's Franco Nero.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And he was in Django from 1966, and he was in Django Unchained.
Yes, he's got a brief cameo in the background. I'm like, holy crap, is that guy?
He's in John Wick 2.
Yeah, Django Unchained. His scene in Django Unchained is when what's his name walks up to the bar.
Yeah,
and he says his name, and they have that brief little exchange, and then he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
But cool.
Yeah.
No, solid picks.
Yeah. So I got to run, guys. So we might want to wrap this up.
Okay, that's good. It's been an hour and a half. I think we've done a decent job of educating people today. And I do have a game to run in an hour and a half for the orc. So,
Oh yes.
You guys, what are you guys playing?
Fallout, the role
We're
playing
doing
game.
episode 2 of our Fallout RPG.
Yeah.
With Doofus from the chat and Chris Pirate Knight.
Yeah, they are on they're on the road to Pie Town, and the quest line is Big Trouble in Pie Town.
Awesome.
See, I misread that.
I'll be watching.
Oh, good.
Okay,
Cool. But folks, thank you very much for joining us. This has been top 5 movies that are not Christmas movies that are not Die Hard.
Okay, what are we gonna do next? We're gonna do walking.
Yeah, I think we should do the top 10 walking now. I know I was just looking. 2 weeks from now is Christmas Day, and the week after it is New Year's Day. So I'm wondering if we're going to meet up back on the 8th.
The 8th. The 8th.
The 8th is the Saturday. Yeah, I can do that.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do our top 10 Christopher Walken pick. Will be our one top 10.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Oh man. Even doing a top 10 is going to be tough. Because he's been in everything. He's been in so much stuff. Man.
Cool. So the 8th of Jan.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, folks, thank you very much for hanging out with us. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Dave is at 100.
Yep. And I think I will definitely sit down and do a review of Invasion USA for the channel and start trying to make my way into Chuck Norris movies.
You just start with like the first movie he ever did and then just go up from there.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys, and see you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Letters.